Okay, so welcome back to Grumpy Grognard Gaming. Rumours of our death are overstated and exaggerated,
Barely.
but not by much.
Barely. I
Um,
think it was going to Paradise Lost and My Dying Bride that inflicted probably Rodri's illness on us both.
too old for it, man. As simple as that. To be fair, I had a busy weekend after that, so but yeah, well and truly done in. There's no chance. We tried recording something last week, and it was subpar, to say the least. I was half dead
On several levels, yeah.
Monosyllabic sort of statements and stuff like that. So
Alan, how's it going? Yes.
it's pretty much that. It was just a long silence. So you'd say something and you'd stop talking, and then normally I'd be right in there. It's just like this long, like very awkward period of silence before I was finally like, yeah, I guess.
Something got some traction. Engaging.
It was not great, but we've been galvanised because we have finally passed 100 subscribers.
100?
Yeah, man, we're past 100 now. What we at?
I mean, views.
Including the wonderfully monikered Big Tutty Hooker. So that's just wonderful. Joined us today. 117 subscribers.
117.
117. 117, yeah.
Like an F117, a wobbling goblin.
Well, at least 100 of those are actual people, not just pity subs from friends and things, you know. So.
Pity subs.
Pity subs, yeah. We've got the Amazon deal and we've got our Legion Imperialis roundup. Which one do you want to hit first?
We'll go with Amazon first. I think there's less to say about that than there is everything else because no one really knows anything about it.
Oh, it'll be speculation. It'll be speculation, and I've got a rumor to add in, which I don't personally believe, but I think might be.
Okay.
Scandalous. Might be worth addressing. So yes, we've got the news from GW today, or it might have been yesterday. I think it was today, actually.
It was today. Not us personally. It went on Warcom.
just the community site.
Yeah, they did just tell us.
Yeah, I've got. What am I talking about? I've got. What is it? Is it still Kirby? No, Roundtree. I've got Roundtree on speed dial, mate. You know.
It's still Kirby.
Best buds.
You had to tape over that one on the phone, on the wall. Just tape over that name. Just put RT next to it instead.
Not Kirby anymore.
No, not that fucking guy.
So yeah, it was on Warcom that the deal, because originally it was just a agreement in principle, and now it is an actual deal. So
contract signed and everything.
Yeah, the ink is settled and everything. The deal is going forth now, and what I found quite interesting about the deal was that it mentioned big and small screens. So it was just, from what I recall, originally Henry Cavill developing an Amazon TV series. And I suspect that the reason this has taken a lot longer than we thought it might have, because I got this update and I was like, oh, I kind of thought that had already happened. Wasn't the next thing we were supposed to be hearing, like titles and writers and shit, and it doesn't look like it. So they've said, back in December last year, we announced Games Workshop and Amazon Studios had signed an agreement in principle to work together, bring the Warhammer 40,000 universe to screens big and small. And that suggests to me a live action movie, or not maybe live action, but a movie, as in something that will actually appear at cinema screens. And this fills me with a certain amount of trepidation, which we'll discuss in a minute.
Have Amazon actually produced anything for a cinema screen yet, as of up to date? I don't think they have they? Unless some Amazon shows get screened in cinemas. I mean, I feel sorry for anyone that I feel sorry for anyone that paid to go see Rings of Power at a cinema, but
bear in mind that Amazon have bought MGM. So MGM are a movie, they bought
really?
MGM entirely. So MGM obviously are a company that makes movies that do appear on the screen, like James Bond. So therefore, there will be some
Rory Lyon
precedent. They may have actually had something appear on the screen. I'm not entirely sure, because when you see these things, you do tend to see the studio and not Amazon or Netflix. So, for example, I'll go and see a film that is a Netflix film. It won't necessarily say that it's a Netflix film. It won't necessarily say it's an Amazon film. It'll just have the studio that has been purchased by that company. So
it'll be in like the credit small print at the end somewhere that you won't bother to see.
Sometimes, I mean, with these conglomerates, you don't always see the smaller bit of it. So you got like Mars is owned by I don't know whoever it is, Nestle or whatever. But then Nestle themselves are part of a bigger company. All these companies are owned by a much smaller number of companies. It's like a pyramid system. So obviously Amazon is the top of the tree for this one, and then under that you've got a studio, and there'll be a studio involved with making this. It doesn't say it says like Amazon Studios signed the agreement to work together, but there's still Henry Cavill's production company involved that he's got with his missus.
Yeah, he's executive producer.
He is executive producer. He's got final say, which is one of the only hopes I have for this. So they say basically now comes out all the creative details, getting the scripts written and in production, blah, 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 blah. So I would say for the very least, we are not going to see a damn this till 2025.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Not a damn thing. We might
see. They want to do a decent job.
We might get a title. We might get some details about what's being done, but actually seeing anything on the screen, be it big or small, 2025 at the absolute earliest before we see anything at all. So they mentioned Henry Cavill in here, executive producer. It's very exciting. It's also quite worrying in several ways. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is happening. No matter what, this was always going to be the next step of Games Workshop's IP.
They finally got around to it. Finally.
Yeah, absolutely. Got around to it. So there's a few things that I think are worth exploring here. One of the first ones would be, what does this mean for Warhammer Plus? Because Warhammer Plus, we said at the time when we talked about Warhammer Plus in one of our previous videos that they should have just gone to Amazon or Netflix, and licensed out the product.
Just done that instead.
Because you'll get it out to everybody who doesn't currently do Warhammer. Whereas with Warhammer Plus, you're going to get it out to a small percentage of people that do Warhammer. They might be looking at this as an alternative. I don't think Warhammer Plus has done particularly well for them. How much?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got no idea. I mean, we tend to run in fairly cynical circles, and it kind of ranges from me saying, "Oh, I don't mind paying like £5 a month because one, I get a decent model at the end of it, and two, I get to watch all the decent animations like Bolter and Chainsword and whatnot." And on the whole, they're very enjoyable to watch, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So to me, it's been worth it. And then there's you who kind of sits in the middle and goes, yeah, but it's a bit shit. And I'm like, yeah, if you say so. And then there's Carl at the other end that's just like, it's all shit and I'm not giving them a penny. They should never have taken all their third-party stuff off of YouTube. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's kind of fair enough. But, you know, people did put a lot of time and shit into it. So
the Grognard gaming and the whole thing that I want to do for it is not to be a white knight, not to be black pill, not to be I hate GW, not to be, oh my god, Games Workshop, please give me some more, I get on my knees. To be very balanced, very balanced, experienced veteran perspective, I suppose. You know, some would say fence sitter, but I would rather say that I would like to take information.
Just be fair.
To be fair, but also just to take all the information on board. And people will see this as we start to do some of the videos that we going forward. I want to take both sides of an argument and look at the nuances that are often ignored in the heat of the moment by some people. So with this deal, it could be great. Now, I always thought, when I used to speak to Lee, me and Lee used to speak a lot about the hobby back in the day. We always said that the death of Warhammer 40,000 would happen when when a film was made for it and it had action figures. And my point of view was basically, at that point, it would become a fad and it would burn itself out. So basically what would happen is everybody, oh my god, awesome, get all the toys and stuff like that. And then it would just die out because there's been so many film franchises that have done that. And then all the toys come out and all the people play it and then it disappears and it's in the pound shop bargain bin, especially if it's shit. World of Warcraft movie, for example.
I really enjoyed it. But the thing is, I had the benefit of I've played Warcraft basically since Warcraft Orcs and Humans in like the early 90s. So I'm reasonably faux pas with all of the Warcraft lore and the history all the way up to like, Dragonflight, which is the current expansion. And I've read a bunch of novels and stuff. So when I watched the film, my brain automatically filled in the gaps that the editors decided to cut out when they did.
But there were a lot of gaps. It was not.
Yeah, they took
that film did more money in China than anywhere else.
And
so I think everybody else watched it and went, "What the fuck is going on?"
And they're still not giving it a sequel, which I'm absolutely gutted about because they edited out 45 minutes of what is already like a 2-hour film. Like, and
shit, is there a director's
no.
cut?
Because of the amount of special effects that were involved throughout the entire film.
Oh, so it's like work print footage.
Yeah. So anything that they edited out would need so much processing to bring it up to speed with the rest of the film that it wouldn't be worth the money. So yeah,
it's a shame because, as I say, in some areas I really enjoyed that film.
I thought it was. In
some areas I thought
it was passable. But then, if I was someone fresh off the street who's only ever played World of Warcraft and not read any of the other stuff or played the earlier games, bearing in mind that the film was set a generation before the start of World of Warcraft, then I think it's pretty much fair to say that they'd recognise most of the locations and the races, but they may not necessarily have a fucking clue as to what's going on, or why certain characters became so chummy so quickly, and why certain things happened.
Yes, a lot of the geopolitical stuff was not well done. The world building, some of that was not well done at all.
It was just kind of it was just assumed.
Stuff, like, book side of it was really good. I really liked that.
Yeah, it was very good.
I thought that was very well done. I thought the ending was very good as well, to be honest. And for a film that had that much CGI, I didn't think it looked that bad. It looked fake. But it didn't look that bad.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. My only main gripe with it was how much of it was edited out and what kind of a mess it left behind.
Butchered a little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was.
I mean, my main Warcraft stuff was Warcraft 2.
Nice.
Where you keep clicking and they go, "Stop touching
me." It doesn't get much better than this.
Join the army, they said. See the world, they said. I'd rather be sailing.
Are you still touching me? It's brilliant. Like everything that Blizzard does is gold, pretty much. And
yeah. I mean, actually, because America has, and again, we're just going to talk about. We'll get back to Warhammer 40,000 eventually. Honest, but America has spent a hell of a lot of time pandering to China. So you think about all sorts of films, they've been like, okay, we've got to represent China. We've got to do this, like the Mulan. We can't have all this magical shit in it. It's got to be Meg. And the thing is, what the Chinese want is the Chinese don't want that. They want American films. They want big, dumb action films like Fast and the Furious because they can't get it in their own fucking country because the government turns around and goes, no. So they keep doing all this pandering and like, oh, we've got a film for these people. Yeah, Hollywood. I mean, I'm going to see Godzilla -1 on Wednesday. Nice. And I'm fully expecting it to be absolutely fucking amazing and 10 times better than any Hollywood film I've seen. And that includes Oppenheimer and all that kind of stuff. Purely because it's made by the Japanese who prioritise storytelling over everything else. Apart from waifus, waifus and other assorted animated and naked anime girls.
Oh, but, my.
When it comes to story and culture, they're so far ahead of Hollywood in like servicing the story. It's not true, and that's why when it comes to Amazon, I'm very concerned. I said we finally get back to Warhammer. I'm very concerned about the influences that are going to come into this project.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened with Rings of Pooh. A power.
Please don't talk about.
Well, no, but
don't talk about Rings of Power.
It is pretty much a direct correlation, is it not? Like Tolkien is a household name. I mean, Warhammer isn't a household name, really. But people see the shops in the high street, and people are aware of what it is. They're like, oh, my little brother used to do that. Oh.
I think a lot of people are now, yeah. I don't think as many people are as Tolkien. I think Lord of the Rings is still a much bigger. Yeah. I think GW wishes it was Middle-earth and
Yeah,
Tolkien.
100.
I mean, that's why they spent so much money securing the license and keeping the license, even when there were no films being made.
In 70 years they might be, but you never know.
We'll still have it because we don't want somebody else to have it.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, not just Rings of Power, because Rings of Power is obviously an absolute shower of shite.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still fairly convinced that Rings of Power was a laudable effort by people to create a renewable, perpetual energy source by having Professor Tolkien spinning his grave so fast that they could attach him to a generator and basically fuel the planet for life. Because it was that fucking bad. I mean, it was awful, absolutely awful. And that's before we get to talk about the stupid stuff like the ships carrying 300 horses.
We won't get into any of that, any of the details for that piece of crap.
But that's exactly. That's a warning sign for how a good fantasy IP be taken and completely spoiled.
One of the early signs of that is where they start firing people who know what they're talking about. Like Rings of Power had Tom Shippey, who's one of the main Tolkien experts on the planet, and they binned him off.
He basically turned around to the producers and going, "That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. That would happen." Oh dear, you're fired because you accidentally said something.
And they binned him off. So basically, keep an eye on this. And if we hear any news that says Henry Cavill's been binned from the project, then I expect it to be.
It's game over.
Then I expect it to be another Amazon shit show along the same lines.
If Henry Cavill walks, this will be one of the worst things you have ever seen, because his passion for this is more than The Witcher.
Yeah, and he already set a precedent
with
that.
Than any other IP that he's been attached to. It's more than Superman. And he loves all this shit because he's one of us. He's a geek.
He is.
He loves it. He loves his PC gaming. I'd love to have a pint with the bloke. I met him at Warhammer World once, and that was it. Very, very briefly. I'd love to have a pint, sit down, and just chat geek shit, because I imagine it'd be amazing. But if he walks, this is game over. And I don't think GW will let him. But it depends what deal has been signed regarding the IP rights and how much Amazon are going to get, how much control Amazon have, how much control Henry Cavill's production company has. Because although he's executive producers have been and gone. It can happen.
Yep.
So I think it is too early to tell.
Definitely.
Amazon's previous history adapting fantasy IPs is very, very bad. Cavill's love for the 40k universe is very good. But also, what the hell do you do? Is a bigger universe than Lord of the Rings Middle-earth. Yeah. Much bigger, because it's galaxy-wide. It's not a... You could charitably say that Lord of the Rings is a continent over several, say a few thousand, quite a few thousand years, because obviously the elves are quite pretty old. So say 10,000 years, and Middle-earth is a continent on a planet. Or a planet, if we're being very, very generous. 40k is millions of worlds across 10,000, 15,000 years, depending on how far you want to go.
Yep. It's a ridiculous scope.
Where the hell? What do you do? What the hell do you do? So
I have a feeling that they will probably go with an inquisitorial retinue, or perhaps Imperial Guard. I think an Inquisitor will have more scope to show more snippets of the galaxy, like of the whole setting, the universe, as they travel around and go from place to place and encounter different things. I don't think they'll base it on Space Marines.
I think for a TV show, yes. I don't think so for a movie.
No.
I think for a movie you need big action. For a movie, I'd hope for a Tyranid invasion of the planet.
Yeah, probably. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Marines will feature somewhere, but
heavily.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll be the main characters at all. One, because I think people will look at it and go, "Oh, Halo," and the Halo TV show did a bit shit, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think there might be something in the background.
Yeah,
I think they might be a plot device.
They'll definitely be there.
Space Marines have been fighting. They are fighting in the background. You'll see a few, but obviously budget is going to be a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't even know really yet whether it's going to be mostly live action, animated voiceover. We don't know. It could be CGI. We know nothing about it at the moment. We can only speculate. Now, I did want to just address one rumour that I did hear, and I pretty much discounted it. But the rumour said that somebody at GW got a little bit overzealous and signed off a contract that was no good. the reasons why it's just taken so long while the lawyers turned around and went, oh, fucking hell, hang on. If GW do this, they'll lose the rights to things like Space Marines in the show, so they won't make the money.
Yeah.
Now, I would normally say absolutely no fucking chance. Like, this would be watertight. You know, they would have people all over it. Everything would be double checked, triple checked. Apparently the guy just turned around and said, oh yeah, it's all been checked by lawyers, it's all fine, just sign it. And it was not fine. It was a bad deal.
Management's going to manage.
Yeah, no, this is what I'm thinking. Like, this is not entirely without precedent. Maybe not on this level, but we've seen GW make pretty big fuck ups, like send off a rule book that's wrong.
Warehouse.
Warehouse. You know, and the warehouse, complete shit shows that is the warehouse and their current stock production problems. So while I think that rumour is likely bollocks, I do think there has been something behind the scenes that has made this take a year.
I think it might have just taken a year because legal things take a while.
Because it's a revenue stream. Well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of IP rights and things like that, and I doubt very much that they're looking just into Warhammer 40,000.
They'll probably go for 40k
They're
first.
Probably looking to make. I think they'll probably go for 40k first, but I think they'll develop alongside each other. So I think, although Age of Sigmar will be further back, I think they'll want a fantasy thing to go with.
Yeah, they'll probably still get a look in.
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. At the end of the day,
yeah,
we hope for it to be great. I wouldn't want it to damage. The thing about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, is Rings of Power was shit.
Yes.
It was shit. It was absolutely awful. The writing was abysmal. The costuming and attention to detail was terrible. The characters were awful. It was just really bad. But with Lord of the Rings, you can always just go, well, we've got the films.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's all good. We've got the films. Don't worry about it. If Warhammer 40,000 turns out to be shit, what do we do? We've got Ultramarines. It's okay.
we got Warhammer TV.
You know, so
please not Ultramarines with the ancient apothecary. I'm like, Marines. I'm pretty certain Marines don't age. Like, how old's your apothecary? Was he knocking around with Sanguinius? Like, what?
I'm pretty sure it's
from when Gilliman was new.
Was it Terra Stamp?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it was Terra Stamp. I think it's just because he was old and his voice was kind of old, and they were just like, "Oh, we need to make this guy look really old." It's like. Like Dante's 10,000 years old, and he's not that wizened.
No,
you know?
It's like you should have just scarred him up a bit and done something to his neck.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, his throat's a bit fucked. He sounds funny now.
And oddly enough, I didn't think Ultramarines was that bad. I just thought it was a half-hour film that they tried to stretch out into an hour by having lots of scenes of Space Marines walking with their feet obscured by dust because they couldn't animate them properly.
Yeah, well, no, the thing is, with that, it was Ultramarines was done by Codex Pictures, who did the Lego Bionicle stuff. And I think I think that was literally all they had to their name when they started working with Games Workshop. And from what I heard, I don't know if it was from an interview that I found online somewhere, Games Workshop basically said, if you have any questions, please let us know. Here's all of our lore. You've got this much money. Bye.
Yes,
I just
did
that.
They underfunded them as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they were just like, what the fuck? And that's why when you watch it and there's loads of fog and haze everywhere, it was to save time and money rendering the rest of the scenes because he just put mist over them instead.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the best thing about that was the chaplain's like helmet mask. I was gonna say the chaplain's helmet, but I don't want to give anyone.
Some of the rendering was really nice, and the voice work was very good as well. If I remember correctly, the chaplain was John Hurt.
Yeah, it was John Hurt. I think Sean Pertwee was in there as well. You know, somewhere. I love me some Sean Pertwee. Ever since I saw Dog Soldiers and Event Horizon.
Was in there, definitely. Remember that voice. Event Horizon, another Warhammer film. You can't tell me it's not the Warp. The potential is there, but I mean, Amazon, man.
If we hadn't seen Rings of Power, I'd be much more hopeful about this. But either way, it's a positive step, and I'm looking forward to see what comes of it.
And I can't see Cavill letting any old shit go through.
No.
Because let's face it, if he had creative control over The Witcher, it potentially would still be good going, if you know what I mean.
Too many stupid writers with agendas.
With him in place, somebody who had, oh god, yes, absolutely. With him in place, I have faith. You know, I am optimistic about this news, at the moment.
Yep.
Time will tell.
I think Games Workshop will have some of the usual crowd in the writers' room. Like, hopefully, it'll be a little bit of maybe some Abnett or Dembski Bozen or McNeil.
Yeah, because obviously Cavill is not a writer.
No, but he's not idiot either. He knows what he likes, so I trust him. Even though I've never met the chap, that handsome devil. I hope I never meet him. It would be terribly embarrassing. But like, yeah, I generally think that his passion for the whole thing and being an executive producer will hopefully stop anything happening to this project, like what happened with The Witcher, where people end up writing who literally say on record that they don't give a shit about the setting.
And like the source material, yeah.
And it's like, why? Why would you employ them? Maybe there's some blackmail involved.
Unbelievable. Yeah, somebody knows where the bodies are buried.
If you want people to do their best work, they need to give a shit about what they're writing about, or drawing, or singing about.
Look at Kathleen Kennedy. We're not that kind of a channel, but just look at that kind of one of the biggest IPs in the world, and it's just been tanked.
Yep, awful. The last 3 films from the episodes, 7, 8, and 9, horrendous.
7, 8, and 9.
All 3 of them horrendous.
I gave 7 a pass at the time.
I didn't.
I was all caught up, and I was like, oh yeah, all right, it's basically the New Hope all over again. But after this, they're just getting people, they're just playing it safe. They just wanted to get people on board, and then it's going to go awesome.
That was why.
And then, I went to the Last Jedi. I was just like, oh god, no.
That was that.
And then somehow Rise of Skywalker was even worse.
Yeah, that was why I was so annoyed with Episode 7. I'm like, you've done a Predators. Right, you've taken the original film, and you've literally just taken plot points from the original film and just plonked them into a new one because you're either scared or lazy, and I don't know which. And I'm like, it's Star Wars, and you're J.J. Abrams. You got nothing to be scared about, right? People are going to watch this regardless. And if you're lazy, then you shouldn't be doing it. Like,
I mean, in the cantina scene when they go to. What's the name? Maz Kanata's cantina. Chewie's supposed to rip the arm off somebody.
No, just no. It's already done. Do something else. It's already done. And that's why I vastly preferred Rogue One and Solo, especially Rogue One. I thought it was horrible, gritty, and it was just amazing. But I think I probably preferred it because at this point, like, I mean, Rogue One was after Episode 7, release date wise. I think after that point, I'd had 3 decent films, like a bunch of animated TV series that I'd not bothered to get into, and then 1 really disappointing new film. So when Rogue One came out, I wasn't really expecting that much, and it just blew me away. And I think it's because it's a war film set in the Star Wars universe rather than like a main story arc Star Wars film, which it kind of is because we all know it goes before the original
Star Wars universe, which is what they should have done.
Yeah, it was great, and that is.
I love Rogue One.
Yeah,
and I like Andor.
Yeah, and that film and The Mandalorian is how you pay homage to old stuff, which is awesome, without ripping it off.
Get started on the Mandalorian. Mandalorian should have been at least 2 or 3 seasons of him just going around doing bounties.
That would have been cool. You need a bit more than that.
One off.
That would have been cool.
You can, if you're clever, you can weave in the other narrative into it. He finds out this stuff slowly as he does the bounties. As it was, I think he did 2 bounties, and that was it. Then it was the Baby Grogu bloody show. Oh, I don't want to talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, Star Trek, or any of that crap because it's all.
Oh no! It's beginning again. Quickly, reach for the medicine.
Exactly. In this case, the medicine is a pint of cider. Oh.
I've actually got a bottle of cider.
Nice. Cheers, mate. 100.
It's the Charles.
I can see the number dropping by the minute as we
on. Yeah, as we blither on shitting on other sci-fi and fantasy stuff. We're not all miserable. It's fine. Anyway, next I think that's probably done.
Yeah, no, we discussed that. Yeah, we will continue to keep an eye on it. I don't think we're going to see anything at all. Not even a title, not the announcement of a writer, nothing for at least 6. We'll just have to wait and see on this.
Games Workshop got enough shit to get on with.
Possibly don't die before then because we're getting old.
Don't even speak
44
of it.
next week. Right. Legions Imperialis.
I was 45 last month. You just have to get those digs in, don't you?
Bless you.
So okay, my wife's older than me.
Right. Legions Imperialis, when we discussed this last time round, which was good, I was A, half dead, and B, although I'd started on my kit and everything and read the rules, I hadn't put together all the tanks and everything, so maybe it was a touch premature. Now I have put together all the tanks.
I don't think it was premature. It's always good to talk about awesome stuff, even if you don't know as much as some people.
It's better to talk about awesome stuff after you've put all the awesome stuff together.
It's not mutually exclusive. We're doing both.
And I have done that. Well, I mean, we will continue to cover Legions Imperialis as and when there's something to cover. So this will probably be the last of the Imperialis featured type stuff for now until GW actually do something else. We've got another.
We get some games
Legions Imperialis. We've had it. I've put together all my stuff. I had some broken assault marines, which Element have told me they've ordered replacements for. I'm hoping they don't just send me out 3 little assault marines because they will turn up broken. So
3 little assault marines in a baggie.
Get a full box or anything, but yeah, exactly. A little baggie, it's like maybe like in little foam containers to keep them safe. I'm not expecting to get like a box of Imperialis infantry or anything, but maybe a sprue or something. Whether for this instance, because I cannot be the only one that had broken sprues, so whether for this instance GW are going to send out a bundle of sprues and say, look, just get them out to the punters rather than breaking open actual stock to replace these things, I don't know. But we'll have to wait. Yeah. I've not heard anything.
They must have stock set aside, like a certain percentage set aside for breakages and stuff like that. Yeah, you would think
so. While I can't guarantee it, you would certainly think so. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'll get some.
They've been in the business
I'll get
for
some
long enough.
non-broken they are fragile products, and when this stuff was put back in the boxes after obviously they had to replace all the rule books, it wasn't done particularly carefully. Your box was a bit battered.
No.
My sprue.
Yeah. Weirdly, the outside of my box was fine. The inside of my box, like the little card supporty bits that are either side of the rule book, one of them was smashed to fuck. I was like, oh, how's that?
They've taken the rule book because obviously the rule book's underneath the sprues. They've taken the rule book out, not been careful with the cardboard, put the new one in, smashed it. That's all it is. Because they would have had thousands.
Yeah. I mean, everything in there was fine.
Yeah, absolutely. My sprue was broken, but everything else was absolutely tickety boo. Everything else was the way it should have been, and I really like the models. The tanks in particular are absolutely lovely. I put them all together, and I was having much fun. I maybe think the Macarius was a couple of bits too many, but it's a big tank. I also think that maybe having pintle options was a little bit much, and you could have left those off and give us an extra couple of, extra 4 turrets for the Lehman Russes, so we could have had the extra turrets rather than having to choose between the battle cannon and the Vanquisher. So there's a few things that I would have changed in the sprues. I probably wouldn't have had the exhaust separate on the Rhino bodies. I think that might have been a little bit too much.
No. Yeah, not that.
On the whole,
I must say I enjoyed putting pretty much all of it together. The Devastators with the the heavy support guys with the missile launchers was a bit of a chore, but I had 2 pingages where they were like ping, and I was like, no. But they were both recovered, and they were glued on with excessive care.
I went one better. I was doing, I was 3D printing those Imperialis tokens. Well, I may have had a Tupperware tub of ISO on the floor. I may have knocked an entire row of painted Space Marines into that tub of ISO. Which
ISO?
Isopropyl alcohol.
Oh, isopropyl alcohol. Oh, jeez.
At which point they became very much not painted.
Yeah, that sucks.
I was like, fuck. Oh well, never mind. They'll get repainted. I'm making progress. I've done I'm not a fast painter at all, but I've done about 7 stands.
I never have been.
Infantry. I can't.
Yeah, I've done all my Marine stuff to a standard that I'm happy with. I did all of my Solar Auxiliary infantry because, like you, I painted it on the sprue, and I was like, I want to get these off of the sprue and onto their stands so that I can actually get a trial game in. So I kind of forced myself to paint them before I could actually use them. So those were done, but the Solar Aux tanks are just kind of sitting in their Sons of Forest green base coat at the moment, and some of them have had like a little bit of gold trim.
I've worked out my Solar Auxiliary scheme, so they're on the way. And the Space Marines are mostly done, but the Space Marines that are coming out are very different from Aeronautica Imperialis units and the tanks that I will have done, and the reason for that is I use streaking grime on the tanks and the Aeronautical Imperialis units. And the streaking grime,
does it darken them down a lot more than the
infantry? It's not really darken them down. It actually, because of the stain of the grime, it kind of almost gives it a slightly bluish, a slightly greenish blue tint. So because I've used Prussian blue,
Greaters. Sounds a bit Alpha Legion to me.
Yeah, come on, there's not as much as that, but you'll see it. It's a very faded out blue, not the cobalt blue the Ultramarines are. And my infantry all look like that cobalt blue, but I'm not entirely convinced that I'll be able to put streaking grime on them because it's quite a viscous thing. So even though you take most of it off afterwards with a cloth or whatever,
can you thin it?
I might be able to. Then I don't know if the properties will still work. I'm going to have to experiment. I need to get some odor-free or low odor thinners. Otherwise, I'll just end up completely high off my face in my little man cave. And then, I'm going to do a bit of experimentation. Maybe I've got some 3D prints, so I might experiment with those just so I don't.
I was about to say, this is the benefit of 3D printing stuff. You could just paint them a blue and then just test it with those.
Yeah. So I've sort of made progress, but I'm not happy with that progress, and obviously I've been ill and everything, so I've been painting with that, and it's not been good. And it's been like, oh fuck, I wish I hadn't bothered doing it. But yeah, making progress. And
it took me a while to get all mine done.
No, your Dark Angels look good, man.
Nice, but yeah, I've thanks. I mean, they in the pictures they look brighter than they actually are.
That's just the lighting.
So the blacks have got the blacks have got a bit of a metallic-y sheen to them, which I really like, which is why it's the same black mix that I used for my 30k Heresy DA. And the Known Oil gloss has dampened down like the Evil Sun Scarlet that I used as like an off colour on them. So it's I'm really happy with how the vehicles came out. All I need to do now is try and work out where to put transfers on them.
Yeah, tiny little transfers. I'm gonna
let's see how that goes.
I've painted them, so they're all painted Prussian blue, and then there's a heavy dry brush of Laytok blue at the tops, at the sides, and then I'm just going to streak and grime the crap out of them, just see what they look like. To be honest, grim dark them up, because that streak and grime is basically a liquid talent. It basically hides all your shit painting. It's like, it's supposed to look all fucking.
That's like me with Known Oil. I'm like, yay! It's gonna look like a Hellboy comic.
Exactly. Yeah.
It goes. You can highlight that, mate.
Muddy and shit and stuff. Volume lighting.
It's just dirty but shiny.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I prefer. The thing I like about streaking grime actually is it gives the enamel it a really ultra matte finish, and I like that finish a lot. I don't like shiny models because I think then the light starts interfering with the colours.
So I'm currently eyeing up my 2 Storm Eagles and 3 Xiphons from Aeronautica. I'm like, you guys are next.
Oh no, mine all painted. I've got 3 Xiphons and 2 Storm Eagles all painted, and I've got 2 fire.
You little show off.
Fire Talons. The Fire Talons. Fire Raptors. That's it.
Fire Raptors.
2 Fire Raptors.
See who's on the ball this time round. There was this. It's not me this time looking at my Storm Eagle going.
What is that called?
What is the having a fucking senior moment at the age of 45? What is that model I see before me? The Stormhawk, no. Storm Talon,
so
I've got definitely not one of those.
2 Fire Raptors to do, and then I'll get another 3 Xiphons at some point. That's more than enough air support.
So,
but yeah, the infantry. I mean, let's face it. I mean, stock is one of the things that could well affect Legions Imperialis going forward.
Mate, don't even get me started, right? Look, if you have a gander at the if you have a gander at the Blizzard's chat channel on our Discord,
horrific.
And I was like, this is one of the points that I've got for this is that like I'm like, look, Games Workshop, please, could you just get more shit done for this system? Because like I'm looking at eBay and it's kind of like a single Sicaran on the sprue is like 12 quid. And people are like, oh, here's a proper Sicaran, 24 quid. There's another Sicaran, 2 tanks, 18. It's mental on it. I mean, even the ones from America, I feel more sorry for because there's another one that says like a 2 Sicaran squadron tanks new on the sprue, £70, 76. I was just like, mate, Americans must really hate Americans to gouge themselves like that.
I hate
That's
it.
mad.
I hate it. You're not a real hobbyist if you do this to your fellow hobbyists. Fuck you.
Yeah. That sucks. That sucks. But yeah, there's another person selling what I think will be a tank box, which is like 3 Predators and 2 Sicarans, 45 quid. And I'm like, mate, these are going to go on the market for 30 quid. That's like a 50% markup, you absolute bastard.
And the thing is, that's nowhere near the worst of them. One
Probably not. No, these are just the ones that I looked at.
One Sicaran, £42.43. Can I deliver that with a punch in
Madness.
the face?
I knew I should have got 2 damn boxes for myself. I knew I should have got 2 boxes for myself. And I'd have been like, yep, doubled up on infantry and tanks. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Sell the rest, not at an inflated price, because I'm not that person.
I know it's a capitalist site. I know it's a buyer's market and all that kind of shit.
To think,
this is just fucking over your fellow hobbyists. It's as simple as that.
It is.
I mean,
it pretty much is. Yeah, you're like, I need money. Fuck everyone else.
I don't mind the ones if you put it on a bid and you put it on at 99p. Then people can pay whatever they want for it, and 9 times out of 10 you are going to make more.
That's fair enough.
You know you're going to make more, which is kind of a dick move, but it's not just going flat out. Haha, fuck you. You want this one tank? You've got to give me 42 quid.
Yeah,
I'm just like, you fucking what, mate?
Yeah, this we released in a box of 5 for 30 quid. Here's one for 45. Enjoy. It's like, no. I hope that sits on eBay until you die.
Profiteering is just bang out of order, and I'm just like, 3D printing goes blur if needs be. No, I'd rather not. I'd rather have the nice plastic ones, because I do think those plastic kits are really, really nice. And
yeah, Games Workshop doing good models. They should be rewarded for doing good models.
Put together, so nice to put together. In fact, there was not a model that I did not enjoy putting together. Some of them, some of the sponsons are a little bit fiddly and stuff like that. And I say pintle weapons, pintle options, not really necessary.
I must say, the 9th and 10th rhinos were a bit of a chore. After doing like 9 of the damn things, the 10th one I was just like, oh please, can I just get this done?
The only thing I hate about the rhinos, from a design point of view, is where they've put the gate and you trim off the gate. Sometimes you trim off a little bit of the hull.
Yeah,
and then when
on
you
a flat
surface,
together,
you've got like a gap on, so they shouldn't have put it there. But yeah, I wouldn't put it on the join kind of thing. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I thought the infantry, I trimmed up some of the infantry because some of those overhangs really were a little bit too much. But you don't need to.
I didn't have to give a shit about any of that stuff in mind.
They're 9 mil, and you look at them from 2 foot away. You can barely tell they're people. Let alone
especially for me, because mine are all black anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, fuck it. I'm not trimming insanely small bits off of small models.
Quite happy to represent it all with tokens at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be looked at in any kind of detail. If you want to spend any time on anything, maybe the command squad or something like that. But yeah, the stock is going to be an issue, I think. We went into a dangerous store that we will not name at the moment, and the manager went, no problem to the site. Everybody loves it. It's great. You what?
Yeah, that was a surprise, wasn't it? He was like, no, everyone thinks the new website's great. And I was like, who the fuck have you been speaking to? Everyone I've spoken to and everyone that I've seen talk about online thinks it's an absolute piece of shit. Newsflash, it's because it is. It's fucking awful. It's like an advert crossed with a website.
Yeah,
it's not finished.
It's terrible. The Warhammer site is completely out of stock of the core set. Obviously, the army cards, the Legions Infantry, the buildings, Thunderhawks.
I'm still waiting on the Thunderhawk. My brother-in-law asked me what I wanted for my birthday last month, and I said, Thunderhawk will do, mate. They're not too expensive. And he's like, yeah, I ordered one on the 12th of November for you. I spoke to him yesterday, and he's like, nope.
Oh, your T-shirt has finally made it into the country. So it's taken, what are we on? 8. It's taken 3.5 weeks to get from Belarus to the UK. So there is a fighting chance you might get this before Christmas. Well, you won't, because I won't be able to post it for you before Christmas, but it might turn up here before Christmas.
It's a considerable lack of effort. Thanks very much.
Unfortunately, the earliest I can see it turning up here is Thursday.
Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine.
I can't actually see the Solar Auxiliary infantry on there because their stupid fucking website. You type in Legions Imperialis and you get everything else as well.
It's so
it's
such a weird
fine. Everybody
sight.
loves it, Matt. Been told. Everybody loves it. Oh yeah, the Solar Auxiliary are in stock. Most of the tanks are in stock.
Told via an official channel. Everyone knows that Games Workshop store managers don't know anything. That's why we never ask them anymore. Stopped asking them stuff like 20 years ago.
So yeah, out of stock of
They're all
most
Jon
of it.
Snows.
The planes are okay. By the looks of things, the bases are in. I mean, they're working to get it all back into stock, but
yeah, I reckon they either didn't do enough or it did far better than they expected.
It.
And I like to think.
I reckon that.
I reckon it was the latter. Because I think there was a whole bunch of people on YouTube that were like, "This game's going to be shit. Don't worry about it. No one's going to buy it." And then, like, literally a few days later, they were like, "I was wrong."
One of the Sky's falling channels.
Nice.
No, I think they underproduced.
Yeah, and it's a good bit of integrity to go public and say, "Yeah, I admit that I fucked that up." I respect that.
I think they underproduced it, and it was more popular than they thought. I think it's a mix of both. And if there's any way in a million years they made,
there's still a lot of us old people around Games Workshop.
There is no chance that they made anywhere near as many of these as they did Age of Darkness. So from that perspective, I think it was. I think it was underproduced. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, the stock situation does not impact it too much. Because if people can't get it from GW, they will get it elsewhere, and it is available elsewhere. I very much hope that GW get this back in stock. It's well supported. The supplement comes sooner rather than later. Don't want to wait 6 months to be playing this game properly with fast back options.
Yeah, because we are waiting on a bunch of stuff. I went through all the old articles that they put up on Warcom.
And there's stuff they haven't announced yet. They haven't announced Fellblades or Fellglaives.
Yeah.
Hellglaives.
You want me to go through
them? Yeah, why not? I'll cut it out too long.
Okay. So for Marines, we're waiting on a support box, which is 4 Leviathan Dreadnoughts, 4 Derridio Dreadnoughts, 4 Rapiers, and 4 Tarantulas. We're waiting for a fast attack box, which is 4 Javelin Speeders, 4 Proteus Speeders, 6 Scimitar Jet Bikes, and 4 Outrider Bikes. These are bases, by the way, not individual models. So I think the Speeders are individual models, or maybe 2 to a base.
Jet Bikes got 2, the Speeders are individual.
That was it, and I think Outriders are like 3 to a base. So you get 4 bases. When I say 4 Outriders, it means fucking just you fucking know what I mean. 2 boxes of drop pods, which was a surprise. So one of them is going to be 4 standard like transport drop pods, which can also be set up as Deathwing drop pods instead. Deathwind for blowing the piss out of stuff before you land. And there's also going to be a big drop pod box, which is going to be 4 Dreadnought drop pods, which can also be kitted out as Bastion drop pods, which have got a shield generator in them for a little shield bubble, which is kind of cool. There's a Land Raider box with 6 Explorators, and a Spartan box with 4 Land Raider estates in it. Or I think that's 4 Land Raider 4 Land Raider station wagons for you Yanks out there. So you know what we're talking about. Solar Auxilia, we're waiting on their support box, which is 12 Rapiers, 12 Tarantulas, and 4 Cyclops demolition vehicles. The little remote control tanks. So we're waiting on those, and they can be configured in a bunch of different ways depending on what armament you put on them. That's the platforms, that is, not the Cyclops. They've got an artillery box coming, which is 8 Medusas or Basilisks, depending on what you kit them with. There's one that I just called the Chonk box, and that's 2 to 3 Stormhammers, and I've put in my notes that the article said Stormhammers can be run in up to squadrons of 3, but Baneblades / Hellhammers are 2 per box. Yeah. I know, because I got a box. But Stormhammers can be fielded in 3s. So it doesn't make any sense for them to do 2 per box, because you're never going to use the 4th one if you buy a second box to get all 3. So they might do singles for that, like a blister maybe, but it seems a little bit weird. Or they might just do a box of 3. There's a Dracosan box for 6 Dracosan armored transports, and a Malkador box with 2 Malkador Infernus flame tanks and 2 Valdor tank hunters. And I think the only other things apart from that are the plastic Direwolf Titans.
Yes,
Heavy Scout. So yeah, we had the 2 resin ones with like the volcano cannon
They're
and
gone now.
the
You can't buy those.
Quake. No, it wasn't the Quake. It
Yep.
was neutron laser, volcano cannon, neutron laser. But they're going to do a plastic box, which also includes those 2 and the conversion beamer option, which we haven't seen yet.
There's a fuck ton of stuff missing. Then let's face it. So we've had no Typhons, we've had no Scorpius, we've had no Super Heavies, no Cerberus, none of the Sixicaran variants, no Arquitors, no Mastodon.
No. Nope. So yeah, we've got a shitload of stuff to come. It's like, please just get the stuff done.
No breaches.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm not too sure how useful they'll be in Legions, but for 30k itself, breaches, please. Thanks very much. Oh, by the way, Games Workshop, thank you very much for finally getting us plastic assault marines. We really appreciate it. I'm poking the box under my desk with my toe.
So yeah, there's a lot to.
I've just make sure I've still got them.
A lot to do. I've just noticed that the Omega Tank Destroyer for the Horus Heresy has those plasma cannons in a completely different way to the Legions Imperialis ones. They're vertical rather than horizontal.
Oh, on the turret. Yeah. And for Legions, they did them horizontal. I noticed it straight away because I printed a turret for one of mine, and I saw that and I was like, oh, these are lying flat. That's weird, but kind of works.
I'm not sure if I prefer it or not. I suppose it hides a bit more of the turret, but
yeah, different armor mark in it. Like, yep, it's a different mark tank. It's got a different turret. No probs.
I have changed.
But no, I was quite pleased that with
further.
It'll be just 2 on top of each other next for shooting over stuff when they hold down. But speaking of stuff, I'll get this in really quick. There was a chap called Alan, not you, a different one, hopefully less trollacious than you, at Laser Forge Miniatures, and he's the guy who did those epic order dials for 17 quid. You know the ones, the silver ones with the black thing, and they actually look really nice. So they are laser cut. So I don't know if they're like acrylic, maybe. But they're silver with like a black font and whatnot, and it's basically a cover and then like a little geared, twisty dial underneath. So you just turn it to.
I think I like the idea of order dials more than tokens, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good. And what really caught me was that it looks like they've actually got a metal pin that goes through the middle to pin the two bits together. And I was like, oh, nice. That's like to me, that's like, oh, a bit of metal in your plastic stuff. It's a sign of quality right there. So,
no, they do look good. They look very nice. You're tempted to get a set.
Yeah, I ordered
the
set. I thought they looked pretty decent.
Oh, cool. Well, let me know what they're like.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, excuse me, mister. Can you invert the colours on these? Because I think they'd look really nice, kind of like in black with silver font.
Black, yeah.
And he was like, no, they come like this. Otherwise, it's a load of faff. And I was like, okay, well, if you change your mind, I've put in an order for 2.
You could always paint them.
Yeah, I could do, but then you've got to paint all the text as well, and that's
put down silver paint, just drop it in there.
That's just going to be a Forrest Whitaker eye all over in it. I'm not having. Don't want it.
No, it's so like so I put my contact lenses in whatever the hell the gig was last week that I went to that I can't remember.
But you've been ill since then, so you're fine. You're allowed to not remember.
Paradise Lost. Oh, I went down to Southend to go see Decapitated, didn't I?
That was it.
So I put my contact lenses in for that, and I went back to paint the stuff that I've been painted in glasses beforehand. I was like, oh god, what's gone wrong? The prescription's not different. It's just for some reason the focusing is just completely different. I'm not going through glasses. It's like, why do my eyes hurt so much painting?
Bionics for you.
Models? I've got some magnifying glasses.
No, oh good. You're fine then. But no,
old man magnifying glasses that I wear.
Yeah, while on the subject of Legions, I was very pleased to see that it got a FAQ already. Because that's something that I mentioned last week. I'm just looking at my notes from.
Oh, the broken fucking warp missile.
I was just looking at my notes from like our previous one, not last week, from the 30th, and it just says warp missile, fucking insane, fact incoming, and it's literally the first thing that they fact, and they fact it down to 1 dice if it's targeting a knight or a titan, and I was like, good, because otherwise it was absolutely mental.
But it was one-shotting warlords.
Yeah, shouldn't happen. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
It's a bit. But yeah, like also from my notes from our last sesh, a few other things that struck me was one of my favourite weapons in Titanicus, and indeed from Space Marine 2nd Edition. I've still got an old metal Warhound with a plasma blast gun. The plasma blast gun lost blast.
Yes.
I was like, what? Surely that's an oversight, given the name of the weapon. Like, you overcharge the thing, does a blast. Where is it? It's not there.
The FAQ, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's actually very few blasts and templates in the game at all.
Very few.
At all, which is kind of good, I suppose. I mean, blasts work kind of differently in this as to anything else. Like I
mainly seen them being used against buildings, to be honest.
I mean, like you put down a blast template, and one of the good things is you put it down. It doesn't have to be centered on an enemy. You can put it down anywhere.
No, you do have to scatter it no matter what.
And the small ones scatter D3 plus 1 inches. And I think the large templates might be D6 plus 1. I'm not sure. And then wherever it lands, that units underneath it get hit with as many hits as the weapon profile says per model underneath it, and then after that you roll to hit. So it sounds like a lot of stuff, but if it's still only like 5 plus to hit, then you might not actually do a lot with a blast, even if you hit a lot of stuff, because you still need 5s to actually hit the things underneath the blast marker.
Yeah. I thought most of the rules were pretty good, to be honest. I thought some of the combat looks a little bit cumbersome.
I think it will come out in the wash. Like when you start playing, it'll make more sense.
When you start playing it, yeah. It's like the manoeuvres for Legions Imperialis. You look at them and you go, "Oh, the fuck is this?" Yeah. But when you realise it's basically a certain amount of turns and a certain amount of movement hexes, it doesn't really matter too much as long as you make those turns, and it's like, okay, it kind of makes sense now. It looks a bit overwhelming, so I mean, I think the rules are okay. I think some of it's a little bit heavy. I think maybe they could have left some stuff out. I think maybe there's a few too many special rules, maybe a few too many weapon traits. I think it's unwieldy more than anything else, but I think it's very much in line with what I expected from specialist games, where it's not crayon hammer, and they want all the detail.
And so do I. To be fair, like people say that there's too many rules and things to remember, and it's like you only have to remember the stuff that you need to remember. So like, don't bother memorizing like rules and shit for other people's stuff. Just know your own stuff inside and out, and then just be prepared to double check other people's stuff if it seems a little bit sus. And that way you're not looking up stuff for yourself and them. You're just occasionally referencing the other people just to make sure you keep them in check if you don't know who they are, or if they've got a bit of a dodgy reputation or whatever.
Yeah, I get
like cheaty Neil.
I think it's fair enough. I mean, as I say, it's not crayon hammer. It's
something hammer.
A lot more. It's something that's been born from the Horus Heresy, which is not a particularly simple rule set as it is, because it's derived from 7th and all got all the USRs and everything in there, and actual numbers that you need to work out and
Beloved
stuff.
7th.
Formation charts and things like that are far too complicated for little Johnny. So
we can't have a force sort of confusing people.
I'm not magnetising any turrets for the tanks, but I'll magnetise the tanks.
Their Warhounds are pretty straightforward. Just drill up like
The only thing is, if you magnetise the Warhounds, you can't use the pipes. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I never bothered with mine. Yeah, I was very happy to see missile pods come back to Warhounds, because back in the day when they were the old metal ones, they shared all the Reaver weapons. Pretty much all of the Reaver weapons. So Reavers could have an Apocalypse launcher on their carapace. Warhounds could have one just on the side as a normal weapon. One of mine actually did have, which is why when they did the new one, I was like, oh, no Apocalypse launchers for Warhounds then. But then they've changed them up to be Shudder and Swarmer missiles. I'm still not convinced that Shudder missiles are any good. But no, looks good. Yeah, I think my other two thoughts were Warlord of Sinisters might be a little bit too strong for their price.
Yes,
because they're like what, 30, 60 points more than a standard Warlord.
Then you want them to be fieldable. That's the thing.
And they've already got a lot of DACA, and then they've got Necrotechia as well, which I think repairs them as they go. And I was just like, wow, that's a lot of stuff for that price. Like, that's good. I think that's one of the few Titans that I don't actually have for AT.
I think I would have quite happily left those out of the roster, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems a little bit much.
It's not even like you've got any other psychic powers like librarians or anything like that at the moment in the army. So like, it seems a little bit
much. I think I probably would have left them out until I was ready to drop in the chaos equivalent of like possessed Titans or demon Titans.
Yes, exactly.
And then that way, it's got a bit of a balance.
Which is something we've still not seen. I mean, that's one thing that
they've got rules in Titanicus.
They've got in rules in Titanicus, but there's obviously nothing in Legions Imperialis, and we haven't really got
any conversion bits yet.
Imperialis, we haven't really got, because we've just got Mark 6 so far. No conversion bits. But even in Imperialis, we've only got Mark 6.
Yeah.
So
far. Interestingly, the Pintle guys are Mark 3.
I saw they were a different mark. I didn't see what mark.
I'm fairly certain it's 3, like iron armor. I want Mark 5. Mark 5 is my favourite mark of armour. Games Workshop, why? Why do you do this to me?
They like to pretend it doesn't exist. It's the one that's called Heresy Armour, and they pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm like, look, why is it the only one that's still in resin for 30k? How much money do you think I've got? Like, no, please no. Just do them in plastic.
Not happening.
Plastic, my armour.
Looks good. I'm hoping it's supported. I'm hoping it gets all these things. I'm hoping it gets allocated a decent amount of resources, and that specialist games get time to spend on it and make it in what it needs to be, and they're not just shunted straight onto the next product.
Yeah,
and it's like,
stop doing loads of stupid vehicles for outdoor stuff for Necromunda that no one cares about, and then just do stuff for this instead. I mean, I was joking, by the way. You know, if anyone listening and you enjoy your dusty outdoor Necromunda stuff, then that's cool, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. But I think for most of the people in our group, I missed Necromunda from the first time round, and I think the people in our group were like, outdoor Necromunda? No, that just sounds weird.
You mean Gorkamorka? It's like that guy with the old pugilist.
Yeah.
Remember the meme?
Yes.
The guy with his fists. He's like, oh, you mean this?
That's the one. The sideways dude with like the sepia photo.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so outdoors Necromunda, you mean Gorkamorka? They kind of did by doing Speed Freaks, and then that just like all the box games they did, it disappeared, and people just bought it to get the buggies cheap. You know, it's kind of a weird thing. It's like Battle of Calf. They made all those copies, never just bought it by Plastic Heresy Space Marines. They don't give a shit about the board game.
I've still, to this day, I've never played it. I think all the board sections for them are still just in shrink wrap, fucking in the box in the loft somewhere. I don't give a shit about that.
So, yeah, yep.
But I think they
Overkill, Execution Force, all of those games I've never played.
Yep.
You know, unless it's Warhammer Quest, like, you know, Curse City or what's it called? Silver Tower or Blackstone Fortress.
They were all good. They were great.
They were good. We need another one. Sci-fi again, please.
Yeah, well, it's about time, isn't it? I mean, I really enjoyed Blackstone Fortress and Curse City. I mean, the other two were good, like was it Hammerhall and Silver Tower.
I thought Silver Tower was better than Curse City.
Well, you can't be right all the time, I guess, but you know, it's fine.
Curse City just because
it needed a bit more tweaking, didn't it?
It needed a lot more tweaking. The thing about Curse City is because it's got nothing like pink horrors or blue horrors in it, had no missile attacks. So it's just hordes of things slowly walking towards you. So it's really, really easy to game, especially when things always spawn furthest away from you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so I made a couple of house rules to it to change it. And
these guys throw stones.
Improved it. I picked up a whole set. Well, no, not even that. Just random spawn areas.
This zombie has a halitosis attack. It covers
and they don't sort of skip a turn. They don't wait a turn to get on you. They just get on you straight away.
Random and they get stuck in, which is kind of cool. I think the only other thing speaking of tweaking, I think the only other thing for Legions Imperialis, which made me frown a little bit, and I was like, I'm not sure how to take this, is for night banners. And that is, how many knights in a banner can you legally upgrade to the Mechanicum equivalent? Because it's not strictly clear. Because, like, looking at a knight detachment, you get, like, your single knight...
I think it's bloody weird that they put Mechanicum knights in the game and there's no Mechanicum yet.
Nah, true. But then Mechanicum is one of my factions, so I'm like, Thank you so much.
Basically, that just reeks to me of we have these models already, and we need to sell them.
No, I think it just reeks of people like Matt have these models, and we don't really want to enrage them by not giving them rules for stuff where they've got rules for them in Titanicus.
Titanicus, that's what it's there
exactly.
for. It makes no sense to have knights for a faction when you don't. Do you think the Mechanicus is going to lend knights to somebody?
Yes. No. Well, not technically, but
not without a cohort of Mechanicum to oversee.
You do get Mechanicum indentured knight houses with really close ties to the Mechanicum, which is why they get the fancier suits. The downside of that is they usually have to do what the Mechanicum wants them to do, more than doing what they want to do. And
the Mechanicum would be there.
I don't know. I think they've still got a degree of autonomy and independence. Like there's still a quest in Night House, and they get sent out and go do what they want. But sometimes when the Mechanicum goes, so I think sometimes the Mechanicum goes, "Look, dude, we've given you fancy suits. Drop your shit and get over here." Then they have to.
With the Horus Heresy, obviously you already had Mechanicum models. You've already got demon models, that kind of stuff. So. It still took them over a year to get the demon rules out for some reason, but the Mechanicum and the Imperial Army rules followed the Legion ones.
That's reasonably quick.
Quite quickly. I don't see that being the case with Legions Imperialis because
they've still got to get the Marine stuff done. Yep, and Solar Auxilia.
There's not even that. There's no models. There is no pre-existing models for those factions.
True.
There are no 8mm demon models. There are no 8mm Mechanicus models or Mechanicum models. So Christ knows when we're going to see that. So again, we've only got half a game, and I am so worried that these things are going to cause Legion Imperialis.
People lose interest.
People will lose interest. It falls flat on its face, and those bases never get released.
Well, it's probably had the best start it could have had. Given all the teething issues with delays and stuff like that, the fact that it's sold out pretty much everywhere is, you can't really ask for more than that from it. Well, if you're the one selling them, that is
pretty healthy. There's a lot of people sharing their models. Scalpers aside,
feedback seems to be pretty positive. I
suppose at the end of the day, it is kind of in GW's cool. That in it. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to do more structure is so I could actually clip these out into like 40-minute videos as well.
Oh, fair enough.
So like I'd release the whole podcast as one, and in the event that we ever got to the stage where we'd bother doing something like a Patreon, I just release the unedited file.
Yeah.
Aside from any incriminating things that we might say or anything like that, or any personal information we didn't want to be in there. But other than that, they get the whole lot. And then the edited thing would go up on Facebook, on YouTube, and also Spotify. I will be putting this in Spotify in due course. And then what I would also do, because people don't always want to sit down for 40 minutes or 2 hours to watch us blither, I would take out the individual things that we talked about and do like 40-odd minute videos, because there's not too much more. So I just take their main video and cut out a load of other crap and then just do the intro and the ending for it. So that's the plan. But the review should be pretty cool on 26th.
Look forward to it.
A Tuesday, so we could get together. If not on the 26th, because obviously that's all family and stuff. My family aren't arriving till the end of the month. We could always get together on the 27th and chat about the preview, just as a short video preview type thing.
Yeah, I don't really have much family anymore, but we might have some of Jenai's lot visiting maybe after lunch. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
I generally. It's not that time. It's that time, isn't it? That time of year. So, I don't like to assume that people are going to be available. Even I haven't got a life, and I'm generally not doing much. I mean, Kirsty's at work and that day anyway. I think she's at work on Box Day. I don't know. I'll have to ask at some point. But I think that's everything pretty much covered.
Yeah.
So thank you once again to the poor unfortunates that have decided to click on this video and subject themselves to our blithering for God knows how long, or Emperor knows how long.
Thank you, we really appreciate it.
We do, we appreciate each and every single one of you. We have arrived. Yeah, they're big titty cookies are not normally interested in anything to do with me, to be honest. I mean, normally you have to pay them. You can't just produce videos of variable quality and put those out there.
Blithering about nonsense. And then they go, yeah, I'll have some of that.
Digressing, I mean, somebody likes what we're doing. We had a comment, it was really nice actually. It was like, oh, 12 minutes in and you've earned my sub. Really entertained. I was like, what? Are you sure this is the right idea? You've not commented on the wrong video by mistake.
I need to listen to that 12 minutes.
That's it, yeah, 12 minutes, sold. What he doesn't know is after that 12 minutes, it gets really, really, really bad.
So we used up all our good shit in the first quarter of an hour.
Oh, man. Honestly, that the last one we recorded that didn't make it, I think I was dead after the first 12 minutes. I was just like,
just moaned.
Let Matt. Oh man, I was rough. I don't feel great now, but I feel well enough to record and stuff. But yeah, our Legions Imperialis Is It Bad videos now at 4.5k views.
Bonkers. No, it's not bad. It's great. But
it's great.
Like I said in the other one, jokes on them. We hadn't even played it.
Yeah, as I say, I never said it was a review. We were literally talking about the reviews that had said it was a bad game.
Yeah.
There were a few that we disagreed with, and we were discussing those reviews.
We just know. But here's one thing that you might maybe want to edit out of this bit and splice back into the earlier section we were talking about. But when it comes to the Amazon thing with Henry Cavill, I really hope that Rahul Kohli's involved. Who is he's an English chap.
Was he the guy who done the voice for Boltgun?
Yes. Yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
And he was good, and he played the lab doctor in iZombie, which was actually worth a watch. I binged it all. After he and a bunch of other people.
You watched Love Island. I don't believe you.
I have you know that I haven't watched Love Island for 2 years. I have no hankering to watch it now. I did have a personal interest because I knew someone that was actually on the show, and that kind of got me interested in how people interact and stuff like that for a couple of years.
I'm very glad, Matt, that the rehab has worked for you.
Excellent. Yeah.
Going to the session, it's been 4 months since I've watched Love Island, and right. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, everybody. We will catch you next time, and hopefully it won't be as this long, and we won't be half dead. So yeah, cheers for that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.